Welcome to the Faster, Easier, Better show with your hosts Lee Silber and Ellen Goodwin.
Welcome to another episode of the Faster, Easier, Better show. I'm your co-host,
Whoa,
Ellen
whoa, whoa,
Goodwin.
whoa, whoa, whoa. Hey. Let's not do that today. Let's just go right into the show. Well, the show's about efficiency. It's about streamlining. It's about eliminating things that maybe could be cut to save time.
So you want to start episodes going, hi.
Just this one. It kind of throws me off my game when I'm so used to how we open the show. It's like a comfortable blanket. Like, oh, I love this. But no, I thought, hey, I really believe inefficiency comes from, well, a lot of red tape, overcomplicating things, and just a general sense of trying to do too much and just too much. I was looking at my
totally
wife's
agree.
bookshelf. She's read or is reading books that are like Who Moved My Cheese and The Energy Bus and Kaizen, which is about not only are the books short, but some of them are about simplification and streamlining. Because if we were to ask ourselves every time we did something, is there a better way to do this? I know we would think of ways to speed things up. And one of my favorite companies is 3M. And essentially that's what they do. They want to be innovative and creative, but they also want to be efficient. So they feel like these two things go hand in hand. If you challenge yourself to find a better way to do it or a faster way to do it or a cheaper way to do it, that's kind of creativity in a nutshell. It's innovation. You're innovating the way you make something. And then you maybe will come out with a new product, from that, like a Post-it note or some tape.
Post-it note.
3M makes everything.
They do.
They are just about streamlining. When I drive through In-N-Out Burgers, and I just look at the menu, I'm like, no, that is streamlining. You got a burger, fries, and a shake or a soda. That's about that's about the menu there.
Yeah.
And I just think that we, in our personal lives, should look around and say, what are we doing that has too many steps in it that could be eliminated? And look for ways to group things together. All the ways we've talked about in past episodes of efficiency, everything that's used together is stored together.
Right.
Both and I talked about our coffee and tea stations.
Yeah.
Things like that where, you just keep doing it the same way because you just are, it works, but it could work better if we were streamlined. And that's what I've been thinking about a lot lately, because I know back to 3M, they're all about getting the employees to buy in on that. And so what they want their employees to do is at the front lines to come up with ideas, and then they're willing to listen to them at the higher levels. Meaning the executives don't feel like they know everything because they're not down on the factory floor. They're not in research and development. They're not the salespeople out and talking to the customers. So they want to hear feedback about how they could be better. And many times, better leads to 3M's very successful company. Southwest is the most profitable airline because they keep it simple. How they board planes, the type of planes they fly, one type of plane, all the things they do make it efficient through streamlining and simplification. So I feel like I've talked forever.
You have just talked. That was very simple for me. But I think, I totally agree, of course, with all you're talking about. But I think if we take a moment and think about one thing that has really enabled us to simplify a lot over the last 10 months has been, and unfortunately it has been COVID, but it has been Zoom calls, any sort of video calls has simplified the meeting. And meetings are crazy wastes of time. I have a group where I've been going to meetings for them a lot. We put together a program and we meet together, and it's always been drive to the meeting, sit for an hour, drive home. And I've always thought that these meetings could easily be done over video. And no one has been wanting to do that until last year when it was impossible to meet in person. And now I don't think we will ever go back to doing in-person meetings, because now an hour-long meeting is just an hour long. There's no driving there. There's no socializing ahead of time or afterwards. There's no driving home. Now, is that better for personal relationships? Not really. But in a time standpoint, boy, we get things done. We see each other on the screen and away we go. It's also made like family visits. I have visited with my family more this year than ever because we can all just jump on a video call. That's efficient.
I feel like when you ask what is the biggest waste of your time, meetings, if it's not number one, I would ask people, if you won the lottery, what would you do? Most people would say travel. And if you ask them, what's the biggest waste of your time? Most people say meetings. And so, and you're right, traveling for pleasure is one thing. I used to have to get on a plane to travel to speak for an hour and then fly home. So it'd be like 2.5 days of my life for a 60-minute presentation. Granted, I got paid for that, but it wasn't efficient. And these new virtual conferences, like you said, but certainly have a lot more time. And I know we've talked about this, but I don't have to shop for clothes as much because I can use my old clothes because on Zoom, they look new. You can't even tell. There's stains on them everywhere. Ratty.
I'm only seeing you, from the shoulders up. Yeah.
My haircut, I just slick it back. I look like I got a pro haircut. Yeah. So you're right. I mean, meetings always struck me as the most inefficient thing ever. And like you said, we drive there, we meet, we drive back. But then those meetings that are it's just a 10-minute meeting or 15-minute meeting turns into a couple hours. Google instituted standing meetings. So they're supposed to be only 5 minutes, and you stand, and they record everything, and they assign what you're going to do with that idea that came up or whatever the outcome was, and they take action on it. Very efficient.
I'd even take that standing meeting one step further and make everyone drink a big glass of water before the meeting. So people are going to want, the first person to have to go to the bathroom, meeting's over. So
that's a great challenge.
I had a big glass of water before this call, before we started recording. So we need to wrap it up. So please remember to subscribe, like, and review, and be back with us again next week for another episode of the Faster, Easier, Better Show.